Hello, Gummers, and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine, and I'm your host for this Manchester United show for fans, by fans. I'm joined by Mr. Paul Cropper, and we will get to him very shortly. But first, we have got a absolute ton of stuff to get into the show this week. Never a quiet day in Manchester United world, and it's been no different in the past 7 days. So in this show, we will talk about the signings that have just sprung up from nowhere. We'll also talk about the potential marquee signings. Do United still even need one? We'll do another episode of Overrated or Underrated. And of course, we will look ahead to the pre-season, which kicks off in earnest this weekend. Anyway, Mr. Paul Cropper, you've been politely sitting behind my Word document as I've been trying to get this intro out. Now, you are there. You've had a little laugh. He's here. How are you doing, mate?
Buenos dias. I'm all right, pal. That was fantastic. That we sat here for half an hour waiting for you to do that. Brilliant. It was good, though, wasn't it? It was worth it. Worth the wait.
Mate, it did feel like half an hour, but anyway, we have managed to get through it, and here we are. The best thing and the first place to start is Manchester United have finally entered the transfer market and done a first deal. The first deal that is over the line is a Mr. Andrey Santos from Chelsea. Is it 45 million, I think, or 50 million total with add-ons?
50 million total. 48 with add-ons, and it's a 50.
Yeah. Now, this was a transfer that kind of came out of nowhere. I've seen a few people say, oh, we knew that he was on the list. Yeah, sure you did. I'm sure you did, lads. But this is one that came in, and I looked at it and went, we talked about it last week, and we said that he was potentially going to be a Manchester United signing. He now is. I've watched a lot of footage of him, mate. And I'm going to say, I've got excited about it. His forward passing.
Really?
He loves it. He loves a forward pass. But how are you feeling about it? How are you feeling about Andrey Santos?
It's a bit of the unknown, really, isn't it? I don't know. These people saying, oh, we know this, we're not. I'm not convinced people do fully know how good of a player he is. But for United to go and splash that kind of money, he's obviously not bad. You've seen him I've seen him twice in a Chelsea shirt. I've never thought, oh, brilliant, we'll have him. He's a centre midfielder that we need on list. And I'm not having all these people saying they have watched him that much. But like you say, when you see the clips of him, looks between a 6 and an 8. It's just a lot of money it feels like a random name. But I'm in the same boat as you. When it first happened, like last week, one of the lads that listens to the Up the Gummers, go on, Dan. He was saying I was laughing at you, so going on about Carvalho, saying if we sign him as Santos, it's done for. And then we did it within 48 hours. Brilliant. But I think what happened was the Chelsea fans started going a bit mad. And people have taken note and go, why are they so upset? They've got better centre midfielders. He couldn't get in the team. And then the Chelsea fans coming out and saying, United don't know what they've got yet. United fans we've seen this lad and we didn't want to get rid of him. And they were getting angry at their owners saying, why are you selling a promising midfielder who's Premier League proven, who's had a good few seasons on loan, came in for about 20 million-ish to Chelsea. Yeah. And they see him as somebody that could push Caicedo, and if Enzo Fernandes does move on, which looks likely, he would go into their team. So I think from then on, us as United fans stood up and went, oh, if they're that upset, maybe I'm missing something. And then you watch him a bit more with the highlights and you watch some of the extended bits, and you go, do you know what he'll do for me? He'll do. But I still feel like at that point, when we signed him, I thought, well, we still need 2 more, don't we? We still need starters. We still need other midfielders. So, but yeah, kind of excited for him, to be fair. And his interview, I thought, this lad will do.
Yeah. I think he's basically grounded and settled, isn't he? Is he 22, I think? Yeah. 22. He's married. He's got two little kids. There was a fantastic photo of the whole family at the signing, and his 2 little kids are cute as hell. But it was nice, you know. He settled down young, so you know he just wants to play football and earn money now. So he's going to do both of those things at Manchester United. I think, I completely agree with you. Once I started seeing Chelsea fans going, "What are we doing here? Why have we let this lad go? He was supposed to be the successor to Enzo Fernandez. If he was going to leave, working alongside Caicedo, it would have been fantastic." But the thing that's interesting me is there was some commentary. I can't remember who it was that I was listening to. Someone was talking on a podcast, and they were saying that he hasn't quite developed into a 6 or an 8 yet, which means he's moldable. So
Mm,
basically, what they was doing is they were giving that same comparison to Matheus Fernandes. He has the ability to become an 8 or a 6, or basically whatever they want him to be now at Spurs. And that's what Manchester United wanted. They wanted someone that was going to be adaptable, that could maybe play both of those positions, or maybe they could mold them into a specialist.
mhm.
And I think that's the thing that's got me. I'm like, right, okay, okay. I see where this is coming from now. I see why you've taken a punt. 50 million's a lot on a young player. Um, I was talking to, name dropping here, but I was talking to Neil Taylor. He was on the show last night. Former West Swansea, former Wales international, and I said to him, like, I still remember when Wayne Bridge went to Chelsea for 12 million, and I thought that was a lot of money. And now it's like, and he just said to me, 50 million is the new 5 million for these players now. And
Mm.
that's it. That's the going rate for any of these young and promising lads now. So I think United fans should be excited about Andrey Santos. The one thing I will say is, and we'll talk about this later in terms of like marquee signings, we will judge where United are in terms of their midfield and in terms of their summer transfer business on who comes next. Now, we've already got a player in the door with Andrey Santos. It's just been revealed today as we're recording this. There's another player. It was revealed last night. We knew that it was happening, but today it looks like it's going to be announced. 5-year contract for Youri Tielemans, which came out of nowhere, mate. Top player. And I know I'm fairly certain you're a fan of his, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't. Anybody that knows football is a fan of Youri Tielemans. But just going back to the Santos one with the Tielemans, because what we're doing there is you're buying potential, aren't you? It's a bit of an unknown. He has scored goals when he's been on loan, but it's a bit of a risk, isn't it? So if you compare that with the Youri Tielemans one, which is no risk whatsoever, it just
Mm.
makes complete sense that you bring him in and he can play in the Premier League. Been in the Premier League for so many years, played at a high level, played Champions League, play European football. So to go from the Santos one when I was like, we still need more, to then throw Youri Tielemans in you go, oh, but now that takes a bit that that makes United's midfield stronger immediately. Doesn't it, Youri
Mhm.
Tielemans? It just goes in there. Now Casemiro's gone, we needed somebody with the experience. It's not the profile I thought United were going to go for. I think that's what took most people by surprise. Because if you think about it, he's a very, very similar player to Kobe Mainoo. Very similar, and that's probably, can they play together? Can they not? Has he been brought in as backup? I don't see that myself. I think he'll come in and he'll start every single game if he's fit. Um, yeah, so like you said, completely took everyone by surprise, and there's a lot of in the nose came out and said they were spitting the dummy out, weren't they, and saying, "Oh, I don't know where this has come from," because nobody knew. Nobody knew anything about Youri Tielemans. I said last week, funnily enough, there's no name out there that we don't know about that
Mm.
he's just going to come in and surprise us. Ineos have just done that with Youri Tielemans, and to get him at that price, somebody's took a bunga there and said, "Oh, by the way, my client here's got a bit of a buyout clause," because who's put that into his contract?
Yeah.
It's a bargain for
For,
United. I'm over the moon.
for
I'm over the moon with the signing, Nathan, because we can control games with him in that midfield.
Yeah.
Missed
I
it.
think you're right in what you say about them being very similar players, him and Kobe Mainoo. Tielemans and Kobe Mainoo are very similar. It'd be interesting to see what United's plan is with those two, whether it's one or the other, whether they're going to change the formation. We don't even know. We don't know. Are they going to change the formation this season? Are they going to try something different? But we're basing it on what we saw last season. And I think you still need legs in there. I think Andre Santos has that, but he's completely raw. Can he be the person that controls a game from deep while Tielemans and Mainu operate a bit further forward? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. But with that in mind, I still think United will look to bring at least another player in. There was talk from David Ornstein, who obviously broke the Tielemans news. He said that United would look to bring in basically a dog for the midfield, someone that is going to run around and that is going to be a presence. So maybe Andre Santos isn't that person just yet. He'll get games, he'll get his opportunities. They all will this season because there's Champions League. That's a guaranteed, 6 games, I think, extra.
Mhm.
And then obviously the qualification if you get through to the next rounds. FA Cup, League Cup, you would expect them to do better in both of those cup competitions, Premier League as well. So we're going to need a bigger squad. And I do think we will end up signing more players for that. But just going back to the Ineos thing that you was talking about there, and it's funny actually because I think Michael Carrick's just outed himself as having a burner account on Twitter because
Hmm.
on a post that said something along the lines of 83 million for Andre Santos and Youri Tielemans is less than what 2 million less than what Spurs have paid for Matheus Fernandes. And that was liked by Michael Carrick's official account on Twitter. So maybe he didn't check, he didn't switch the accounts in time, but he was like, yep, I'm having that. Yeah, it
He's
is better
happy.
than
He's happy with the deal, isn't he?
exactly. So regardless, I'll take it. So he's happy. He wants I think Michael Carrick wants, like he wants players that can control the game. You mentioned it before as we was talking about Tielemans. He wants players that can control the game. He doesn't want to have someone that is running around being a windscreen wiper in front of the defense. He wants players that get the ball into feet and play it forward. And they're constantly on the front foot and they're keeping the ball. They're not worried about being under pressure. And I think both of those signings are superb. The other thing about Tielemans as well, Bruno's not going to be able to play every game like he did last season. He's not going to be able to. So when he goes out, you watch that shift in United's mentality and in terms of quality as well. It dropped off last season. I know he was only out for like a couple of games when he was it last season when he got injured for a little bit?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he missed a couple of games and the quality dropped off. You're not going to have that now because Tielemans is going to be there to pick up the slack for that. So yeah, I'm excited about both of those players.
Yeah, it's. I'll just give him another shout, which I have done on this show a few times. Statman Dave, if you go and watch his 15, 20 minute, as soon as we sign players, like the Santos one, because I wasn't fully seeing him enough, I went and watched Statman Dave's, and he breaks everything down brilliantly. He brings out all the stats, gets all his receipts, and he put out a few things about Youri Tielemans, which might surprise a few people. So he's more defensive lines broken per 100 passes in the Premier League last season. Adam Wharton was top. Youri Tielemans was second, Casemiro was third. He's higher than Elliot Anderson, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Guimaraes, and there was another one. Oh, yeah. So, Rodri, Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, Belieber, Caicedo, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, etc. None of the players above won more tackles per game in the Premier League than Youri Tielemans. So I know we're saying he's this type of player, and we've said this last week, sorry. United are looking at the stats, aren't they? They're looking at these stats. Youri Tielemans would have been high up on them stats. Whether they realised they could have got him for so cheap at the time, probably not. But as soon as that news come out, he's got a buyout clause. United be straight in there. So brilliant sign. Over the
And
moon.
to his credit as well, Youri Tielemans apparently pushed for the move to Manchester United. I guess the opportunity doesn't come along twice for a lot of players. I think for Tielemans, it actually did. I'm not entirely sure why we didn't sign him when he was a free transfer from Leicester, when he let his contract run down. I'm fairly certain that happened. But it has come along again. Friend of the show and of the radio show as well, Danny Simpson was. He apparently said that Youri Tielemans, the best thing about him is he's like Ronaldo when it comes to the dedication to getting better. So he's constantly in the gym, he's constantly training, he's first in, last out. He just wants to get better all the time, like a model professional. And he'll be, I think, some people were complaining, oh, he's 29, he's past his peak. No, you need players that have got experience coming into this squad, and then you can surround them with younger players as well to help bring those players on. I'm not bothered about 29 years old. If Arsenal had gone out and got Youri Tielemans, everyone would have been going, brilliant, well done, Arsenal. Arteta genius. Yeah, they brought him in. Gimaresh, who they're looking at, is I think he's 6 months older, 6 months younger than Youri Tielemans, and he's probably going to cost Arsenal 70 mil. So I think that's a top bit of business from United and Ineos. So give them credit where it's due.